So I want to tell you a story about a plane, a Boeing 727. On March 3rd, 2010, it took off from Miami, Florida, and it was filled to the brim with life-saving medical supplies that would affect thousands of people who desperately need it. 2 hours later, it would land in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. Now, in the wake of the earthquake in Haiti, there were lots of planes that were landing in Port-au-Prince. The thing that makes this particular plane so unique is that it had a name, Harry Potter. It was sent by his fans. Now, I'd like to take a moment to think about a book or a story that has moved you in particularly. Just a moment. And think about if you were to work with other people who were moved by that story to use the message in that story to transform our world. Now, Harry Potter, the cargo plane, is only one small example of this. One small example of what I call cultural acupuncture. And I believe that it has the power to be a game changer for humanity. And in talking about cultural acupuncture, I am going to use Harry Potter as a case study. So without further ado, let me ask you guys, who here has read Harry Potter? Okay, so for those who haven't, just so you know, it is a very popular book series. And even if you don't like it or haven't read it, I think we can all agree that Harry Potter has gotten people to read. It is the most well-sold piece of fiction in the history of literature. Outside of the Quran, it is the most well-requested book in Guantanamo Bay. And it has created a fan community amongst those who have grown up with Harry. Together, they have organized conferences across the world. They've written fan fiction. They've created sports leagues based off of the sport in the wizarding world. They've even created a genre of rock music called wizard rock with hundreds of bands singing about Harry Potter. Now, when this all began, I thought it sounded really weird. And really stupid. I mean, the idea of a boy with a lightning-shaped scar on his forehead who goes to wizard school and the whole world cares, I didn't understand, but my students at the time lit up when they talked about the book, and I felt like I just had to try it. So finally, reluctantly, I picked it up, and suddenly I was gone. I was just captivated. And by the end of the first chapter, something shot through me. I closed the book, turned to the person sitting next to me, and said, "This book just changed my life." Suddenly, every moment since I was 3 and watching The Wizard of Oz with my mom and loving stories and Christmas trees and house elves were flooding through me. Harry's School of Hogwarts opened up a world of freedom for me, a world of childlike wonder, and I couldn't get enough. Every moment for me became a moment to read Harry Potter. When my girlfriend at the time would fall asleep, I was so delighted because it gave me the opportunity to read Harry Potter. The post office became the world's most exciting place because the lines gave me the chance to read Harry Potter, and everywhere I went, I had someone to talk about Harry Potter with. But then I grew frustrated because if Harry Potter were in our world, he would do a lot more than just talk about Harry Potter. Not that narcissistic. He would fight injustice in our world the way he fought injustice in his. In fact, in the books, for those who have read them, he starts a student activist group called Dumbledores Army, which wakes the media and the government to the fact that Voldemort has returned. And I thought, what if we could get all the Harry Potter fans in the world to be a Dumbledores Army for our world, embody these books that we love, and wake our media and our government to ending genocide in Darfur, or to ending global warming? What if we could find parallels between Harry Potter and our world, and then use those parallels to inspire hundreds of thousands of Harry Potter fans across the world to act as heroes in our world? So I began to map out a lot of the issues that I saw in Harry Potter that connect to our world. And yeah, J.K. Rowling used to work for Amnesty International, so it was no coincidence that some of these things were popping up for me as I was mapping it out. And a lot of these issues are issues that teenagers want to be engaged in and really want to do something about, but have no idea where to start because most of the opportunities are too inaccessible or intimidating. But by connecting to a book that we love, it becomes playful and accessible and exciting. So this idea burned within me. It's all I could talk about. And to some people, the idea of a Phi Beta Kappa graduate from a prestigious university who was completely broke, who's spending all of his time trying to make a children's book real was, I don't know, a little crazy. But then I met Harry and the Potters. Harry and the Potters are two brothers who are indie rock punk musicians. They look like Harry Potter, they dress like Harry Potter, and they sing punk songs from Harry Potter's perspective. They also, according to this picture, have a fondness for dinosaurs. They loved my idea for a Dumbledores Army for our world. And together, we began what we considered a novel approach to activism because it's based off of a novel, and we thought that was kind of novel. And then we used social media to communicate that message. Harry and the Potters would repost my action alerts to their over 60,000 fans. And then other wizard rock bands started to repost my action alerts as well. Bands like the Whomping Willows, the Moaning Myrtles, and Harry and the Potters' enemy band, Draco and the Malfoys, who sing songs like, "My dad is rich and your dad is dead. My dad is rich and your dad is dead." Next. I'll be signing albums after that. So. Thank you. We started getting covered by the biggest fan sites in the Harry Potter fan community. We were reaching hundreds of thousands. The media became really interested in our quirky quest for social justice. And then suddenly J.K. Rowling praised us in Time magazine. It said, when asked about the group, Rowling practically levitates off the couch. And here is an author who creates a world where objects levitate. And we practically make her levitate, which practically made me levitate. And then she sent me a letter to my house where she thanked me and said that she is so humbled that such great things are being done in Harry's name. And this was sort of the god of the universe that I was pretending to live in, so her telling me that she was humbled was very, very meta, you know? So the movement grew, and soon we had chapters and volunteers springing up across the world. To date, we've donated about 90,000 books across the world. We fought genocide, global warming, homophobia, media consolidation, child slavery, and yes, let's return back to Harry Potter, the cargo plane. Harry Potter, the cargo plane. In the wake of the earthquake in Haiti, we organized telethons over live stream. And these live streams were happening constantly for a matter of 2 weeks. And in that 2-week time frame, from small donations from mostly young people, we raised $123,000 that sent 5 cargo planes full of medical supplies to Haiti. Now, the first one was named Harry Potter, and that first plane means a lot to me because it's more than just a plane full of medical supplies. To me, this plane stands in the face of everyone who has told their children to stop using their imagination, to stop looking at fantasy, and to start focusing on the so-called real world. This plane demonstrates that fantasy is not an escape from the soul of our world, but an invitation to go deeper into it. Not an escape from our world, but an invitation to go deeper into it. We dream at night, all of us, but our culture dreams through our books, through our movies, and through our stories. And when we work with our stories, we are doing cultural dream work. And when we work with those stories that we put a lot of energy into, we are doing cultural acupuncture. And like an acupuncturist uses needles to make the energy flow more healthfully in the body, in short, cultural acupuncture is identifying where the energy is in our culture, and then taking that energy and redirecting it to create a healthier body for our world. And stories are our needles. Stories are what resonate. Stories are what can renew our soul as individuals and as a planet. This is bigger than Harry Potter. This is bigger than a few planes to Haiti. This is about reapproaching how we look at popular culture and modern mythology and transmedia and social change. Professor Henry Jenkins at the University of Southern California oftentimes talks about a group of Palestinians who would protest every single week, and every single week they were ignored until the film Avatar came out. You've seen it, yes? And they painted themselves blue like the Na'vi, and suddenly everybody knew about them. They were broadcast all over the world. By connecting their story to a story in the popular imagination, their story was heard from everywhere. Cultural acupuncture, the potential here in using story for social change is limitless. Imagine what we can do with Avatar fans by saying, hey, if you care about protecting Pandora, why don't you care about protecting the Pandora for our world by fighting the sky people in the coal industry? And we can find fans of blockbuster books, TV shows, and movies and bring them together and say, through our love of story, we can shape and change and uplift the human story at this critical time in the human narrative. In short, creating a Comic-Con for social justice. Or let's look at schools. What are the implications here for education? What if our schools became centers where we looked at the movies that our students were already interested in and used parallels from those movies to teach classic literature and science and history and civic engagement? What if we actually were so radical as to respect the emotional, social, and fantasy lives of our students? Or sports. Where I live in Boston, there is a very big rivalry between Boston Red Sox fans and New York Yankees fans. What if we said, who loves your city the most? By clocking in community service hours. And if New York Yankees fans win, then you best believe next year Boston Red Sox fans will take to the streets of Boston fighting back through volunteering. We've seen a lot of damage to our world through story. Hitler used story, Bin Laden used story. Companies that are destroying our planet use story in 30-second ads. It is time for the good guys to use story. It's time, thank you, it's time to go beyond the technocratic rhetoric that we hear too often from activists and nonprofits that keep things intimidating and inaccessible. And it's time to dive into the deeper language of the human psyche, into story. J.K. Rowling, one of our great storytellers, said, "We do not need magic to transform our world. We carry all the power we need inside of us already. We have the power to imagine better." Indeed, we do. And it is our fans of story who are imagining better every day, who are imagining that we do not need to have a tragic ending to our story on this planet. And when we begin to respect these great stories that we have all over the world from history to today, we can announce to the people of Haiti, and we can announce to the people all over the world that equality and justice, creativity and compassion, playfulness, and most of all, love have landed. The end, or the beginning. We get to choose our next adventure. Thank you.